Hi, I'm Annie Palchis. I'm a consultant with families. I used to work in the schools here with children who had special needs and particularly with young children. And I am putting together a few short talks about parenting in a time of pandemic when we all have to stay home and there's no school. It's very challenging. And I'm sure as parents, you are really struggling with many things that are enlarged by the situation right now. Um, this first talk will focus on some ideas that might be especially helpful for families with children of various ages, but actually for all families, um, especially in talking to children about what is happening now and issues that we normally don't have to deal with so directly. It's important to remember um, that children of different ages have different capacities for understanding what's going on and what is happening and how to express themselves and deal with their feelings. Um, we need to meet them at their level of understanding and provide useful information and sort of match the amount and type of information to the child's age and understanding. It's important not to overwhelm children with too much information or too much complexity because we don't want to frighten them unduly. Um, so the basic things you're probably already doing are reminding preschoolers about hand washing and staying healthy and eating healthy foods and being active. Older kids might understand a little more about what's really going on and how diseases spread, and why isolating is so important to protect everyone and to be careful and wear masks when we go out and all those things. Um, and basing any further information you share with kids really should be tied to their age and what you think they can really absorb and understand. Um, the one thing that I think is really important is that the information needs to be factual, and there is so much information out there, and not all of it is real, and not all of it is accurate. So there's rumors and theories and conjectures, and I think it's important to keep children free from being confused by all of that, as all of us adults have to as well. The news media can make us very anxious. Um, it is an anxious time already. I don't think we want to make it worse. So one thing I recommend is limiting the amount of news children see, and maybe even yourselves. There's so much information, and you can't listen to it all day, every day, or even once a day sometimes. I think staying away from online sites that are sensationalized is also a good idea to make sure your children aren't getting access to those. It's also important not to give too much information to kids because they may not understand it all and it might just be confusing to them. So I would try to answer their questions, figure out what it is they want to know, um, and ask what questions they have and what are they worrying about, and try to focus on those things. Um, I know it's hard because there's so much access to media right now through electronics, but as much as possible, I would try to limit the amount of news and other information about the virus that children can access. Um, I think even more importantly, it's an important time to be especially sensitive to your children's moods and behavior. And I'm sure you're seeing more conflict in your home. We're all cooped up. Um, I think it's important to empathize with them that they're feeling lonely. They aren't able to hang out with their friends. Um, and there are some children who tend to keep that in and internalize. What the word is, internalize. They hold everything in, and that's kind of dangerous. So you want to try to draw out what they're thinking and feeling. And other kids externalize. They act out, and kids who are prone to doing that already are probably doing it more. And it's important to remember that's coming from a place of anxiety and distress and confusion. Um, And I'm sure in your families there's a lot of anxiety and stress. That's very natural at this time. It's important to talk to kids, find out what they want to talk about and what their questions are. It's also important to reassure them that they are safe, that you're keeping them safe, and all these strategies that we're using in our community are working to keep everybody safe. They need reassurance about that. Um, it's also important to mention that even if somebody gets sick, most people recover from this virus, and that they'll be healthy, and that the best way is to stay healthy and enjoy living, which is the next point I really want to make. One of the things that's real important is to continue to do things that everybody has the most fun doing. Um, the other thing you can do is talk about everyday heroes in our community, and there's been some of that in the news locally and in other places. The grocery clerks, the medical people, truck drivers, mail service people. It's really important to tell stories about people like that, both made up stories and real stories about people you know who are doing work that is so vital to keep things going. Um, these are the helpers that Mr. Rogers used to always talk about, and I think it's really important for children to hear everybody, to realize that everybody's important, and those jobs are so important, and those people are taking some risks to go to work. So that's a really important thing for them to know about. Finally, I think we, as I said a minute ago, we want to stay positive, and we want to remember to do the things that are fun. I think the other thing you can do, and it's somewhat related to that, is model a way to cope well, to keep your mood up, keep happy, deal with loneliness and other difficult feelings by doing fun things, by playing games, going outside when it's beautiful, which it is some days. Um, Try to be flexible and positive in your interactions with your children. They may need help solving problems. They may have behaviors that are very challenging. It's normal. I think let them know that it's normal to be anxious and upset right now. And it's important that you, as a grown up, share your feelings with your children, not to overwhelm them, but to let them know you're lonely too and you're frustrated too. Those are all normal feelings right now. And we're all trying to cope. And I think any strategies that you use to cope, you can teach your children as good ideas. One way to talk to them is to use I feel statements, so that they can maybe help share their feelings. You can model that by saying things like, I feel sad that I can't see my friends, or I'm wondering when we're going to get to see Nana and Papa again. I feel frustrated that I'm stuck inside, especially when the weather's nasty. Um, these are times to especially focus on listening with love to your children and to respond with caring and empathy, even if you're frustrated and anxious too. Um, I think storytelling about real people and making up stories is always fun for families, and I think that's an important thing to try to remember to do, is talk about other people, talk about made up people who have coped with difficult times. People like Anne Frank, who lived in an attic for years, hiding during the Second World War. Stories about creatures or things, depending on your child's age, things that are entertaining but also show the strength of people who and animals who have coped with difficult times. Um, the the conflict in families that you may see an increase in is reasonable, and so because of what we're going through, but it's also important for your expectations to be reasonable and flexible for yourself and for your children, and maybe ease up on some of the restrictions that you usually were used to using. Um, Everybody's missing friends, routines, teachers, activities, going out. Um, Let your children know a couple times a day how important they are to you. They need to hear that more than ever right now. Um, keep breathing, keep doing fun things, keep moving and staying active. And sometimes it's okay to just take time and just be and not have to do anything, because it seems like right now parents are doing everything they can normally have had to do, and now they're teachers too, and that's hard. And so sometimes just being with your kids and just being still is enough, and lets them know you're there and you're going to be together. um, if you can find ways to laugh, laugh and having fun is what laughing and having fun are some of the best things for everybody's spirits. And it would be great if you can build in something hysterical into every single day. Kids tend to be more serendipitous than grown-ups. They're almost impulsive. They move, their moods shift quickly. They go from anguish to delight more easily. It's over and they're on to the next thing. We can learn a little from that and go with that, because we all need some of that delight in our lives right now. So enjoy those moments and go with them. And look for beauty outside. It's springtime, it's lovely. And most days, except when it's cold and rainy. But look for the positive things, and let me know, or let Cindy know, or let your home visitor know if you have other questions or areas that you would like me or them to talk with you about and think through with you as we go through the continuing months of being fairly closed down. And I hope you all are well and stay healthy. And hopefully we'll talk again soon. Take care.